Hey there, Raquel Dancho here, Conservative Member of Parliament for Kildonan and St. Paul, coming to you today with a very exciting announcement about the leadership race. After 5 months of consideration and discussing this with hundreds of my grassroots Conservative members here in Kildonan and St. Paul and across the country, I have decided to endorse Erin O'Toole as the next leader of the Conservative Party of Canada. Very excited to announce this and make this decision. And a number of things went into this to making this decision. The first thing is, well, the number one thing that seems to unite Conservatives across the country is the desire to defeat Justin Trudeau's Liberal government in the next federal election and for a Conservative majority government to win. And in that, I was thinking, well, what do we need in a leader to accomplish that? We haven't won an election since 2011. We need a strong leader to make this happen. And so I think that there's a number of characteristics that are required. And I think that Erin is very much the guy who fulfills those. So the first thing is, of course, everyone talks about French. Erin by far has the best French out of any leadership candidate. The second thing is fortitude. Which leadership candidate had the fortitude to be able to lead us through these turbulent waters that Canadians are facing? We all know that the pandemic has unleashed, an economic catastrophe on Canada and on the world. We're seeing an international landscape that is changing. We're seeing very challenging domestic issues. And really, with Erin's over a decade experience with the Canadian Armed Forces, of which I greatly appreciate and respect his patriotism, but beyond that, I think with his military training, you've been able to see in the way that he conducts himself as a member of parliament, as a leadership candidate, in his candidacy, with his campaign, he's really executed things extremely well. He seems to be decisive, deliberate, thoughtful. He's done an excellent job. He's really had a great campaign, and I think that speaks volumes to his capabilities and his training and his character as a Canadian, as a former member of the Canadian Armed Forces. So that is huge to me. The third thing is unity. Which leader is going to be able to bring our Big Ten party together, united under a common goal and common vision? Well, I've spoken to many of my grassroots members, and they want to be heard. They want their area of the party to be represented and respected. That came up over and over again, to have that respect on all areas of the Conservative Party. This is no easy task to bring together a huge big tent and to ensure that they're all acknowledged, respected, heard, and represented. But in talking with Erin over the past several months, and challenging him on many of the difficult issues we face as a party and as a country, I very much get the sense that he is a genuine, thoughtful, deliberate, decisive individual who very much respects the roots, the Big Ten grassroots party that we have. And I get the sense from our membership that they very much feel the same, that he is our guy to unite us under common goals and vision. So that's huge. The fourth thing is communication. We know as Conservatives, we believe that we have the best policies, the best values that will lead our country into prosperity and freedom and security for generations to come. But that's all great. But if we can't communicate it effectively, it doesn't matter. So Erin is widely regarded as an excellent public speaker, and I'm so excited to see how he performs in the debates next week. And just with that, with all of his videos and his communications, it's clear that he can speak in a concise manner. He's effective and he really sticks to his guns. As Conservatives, we want someone who does that, who is on the straight and narrow, who doesn't waver into the shoulders, who isn't constantly retracting. We want someone who's able to say what they mean and mean what they say. And I very much see that as Erin O'Toole. And one of the other things that I considered as well was who can win the suburbs? Who can go head to head with Trudeau and duke it out in the seat rich Greater Toronto area, which, of course, much to the chagrin of Western Canada, seems to decide who the Prime Minister is. So there's no getting around that. That's the way it's set up. And Erin, thankfully for us, has a proven track record of winning the Greater Toronto area because that's where his seat is. He's one of the few Conservative MPs who remain in the Greater Toronto area elected. So he has already done this and shown that he can do this time and time again. So if he can do it, he can certainly lead our team of candidates in the next federal election to victory. Another thing that I considered was the team around Erin. And this is something that doesn't often get talked about in the grassroots, the team that the leader surrounds themselves with. But it is something that I gave some consideration to, because ultimately the team that you pick is a reflection of you. And how you're able to lead them shows how you're able to, it is shown in the execution of your campaign and in your communications decisions. They're the people who are advising you. Ultimately, there will be the people that follow you into the opposition leader's office, into the next federal election, and ultimately, God willing, into the Prime Minister's office. And he is a stellar campaign team. I know many of the people on it. They are really phenomenal, really good people, and I'd be honored to work with them. And I think his campaign, Erin's capabilities and the capabilities of his team really speak for itself because we've seen the incredible momentum he's had in this leadership race. I mean, quite frankly, from the get-go of this leadership race, Erin wasn't necessarily talked about as a front-runner candidate, but Erin O'Toole is certainly talked about as a front-runner candidate now. So if he's able to accomplish that in 5 months, just imagine what he's going to be able to accomplish in the next year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years as a leader of our party and hopefully the leader of our country. I'm very inspired by his upward trajectory of growth and the momentum that he's built. That is incredibly important. Conservatives need to feel inspired so that we can get behind a strong leader. And that leads me to my last thing. He has inspired more young Conservative MPs than any other candidate. He has by far the most endorsements out of everyone. And that means a lot to me as a next generation Conservative MP. God willing, all of us get reelected for years to come. We are going to be the Conservative Party of the future. And for us to all, or most of us, to get behind Erin and feel inspired by him and decide that's our guy, that's who we want to lead us for years to come, I think that speaks volumes to his ability to motivate and inspire the next generation and the greater grassroots of the country. So this is incredibly exciting. Thanks for tuning in. I ask you to support Erin with your vote in the upcoming leadership race vote that's coming up very quick. We'll be receiving our ballots. Also, tune in for the debates next week. I think they're going to be really exciting. So buckle up and let's see where this goes and throw your support behind Erin O'Toole because he is our guy. Thanks for tuning in.